Good afternoon. Welcome back to Blunt Society. You know what it is, your boy Fire in the building. And today I got Litit grown. You know what it is, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm good, my man. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Thank you. I'm blessed. I was just hitting some of my homegrown over here, So they always say that homegrown is the best, own grown, hand grown is the best.
It is. It is. There's no substitute.
There's just no
There's no
substitute.
substitute. Yes, yes, yes. Because it's your own cultivation. There's only one thing more addictive than the herb itself, and that's growing it. It's absolutely fantastic.
Exactly. I was talking to Bingus, and Bingus was telling us that, um, this is a grower from America since it's been growing since the 60s, and you were saying that once you start growing cannabis, you want to share with someone else how to grow it. That's like the magic in the plant. Like you want to now share and have someone else grow it as well.
Yeah, it's about that. It's getting excited. It's taking something. It's like getting a puppy. You have to be humble to take care of this puppy because otherwise it can change your life completely upside down. But I think the excitement is all about you taking care of it and responsibility. And of course, there's no more greater addiction than successful results.
That's
So
true. That's true.
so I mean it's a personal journey for every grower that'll ask you. If you ask me, the secret is to stay humble because there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of good growers out there, um, and the key is nobody is in your environment. So if I look at it as the goldfish syndrome, you are in charge of that little bowl, and the lady is your goldfish. She'll tell you what she needs if you know how to look. And when you start off with nothing, you have to learn how to understand what
Definitely.
you're growing.
Nah, man. Shout out, man. That's just a very good intro there. But can you just tell us more about yourself and just more importantly, when did you first find out about cannabis in your entire life? And can you just take us through your growth journey up until today?
Okay, my journey with cannabis started back in the 90s. As a consumer, at first I started socially indulging in our beautiful herb, and at that time where I was from, like today in society, we have a lot of more knowledge about mental disorders and new mental issues, PTSD, depression, ADHD, and all those kind of little things that we didn't know so much about back then. And for me, cannabis has changed over the years when I realized that it's actually helped me manage my ADHD in a way that I can really focus and function and not be distracted as much as the so for me it's went from social and now it's turned into a medicinal aid that actually really aids me in my daily operations, called life.
That is,
Balancing job and
that is
family.
that is so amazing. That is so amazing. So it's medicinally. I love the fact that you've been using it as a patient because a lot of people like to stigmatize. I mean, a lot of people now, since legalization, they do know that it's not bad for you, quote unquote, but it's still taboo. So it's so good and empowering to hear someone that talks about it from a patient perspective of having had ADHD or having have ADHD, and it helps you to focus and not be distracted as much.
Look, yeah, the stigmatization I think comes more with people's lack of understanding. I know personal people who suffered from PTSD and actually used cannabis to get off the heavier chemical drugs because that really turns you inside out. It makes you something that you're not. And the cannabis relieves, first of all, weaning off those extremely, some of those drugs are really, really strong. And sometimes you don't need all that chemical addition to sort out something that is very specific, because the human brain and the neurons and the chemicals firing for each and every individual is different. I don't know if you know this, but each and every human has its what they call an endocannabinoid system.
Yeah.
And your endocannabinoid system reacts to the cannabinoids in the flower. So your let's take pain for example. I love tattoos. I love getting tattoos, um, and my endocannabinoid system relating to tattooing specifically is the pain factor. Some people will be more hypersensitive to the perception of the pain, and other people like me would be my perception of pain gets dialed down. So it all depends on your own system. And now we're getting to a complex system that's just as complex as the nutrient system that you have in your rhizosphere of your plant, man. And that's the relation. If you know how to take care of yourself, you automatically know how to, the principles of taking care of your plant, the right environment, the right food, stimulation, not stress. Well, yeah,
Yes.
that's kind of a totally different conversation. But yeah,
No, the endocannabinoid system is something that's very important because a lot of people don't actually know that the phytocannabinoids, which is the cannabinoids found in the marijuana plant, they mimic the cannabinoids that we have inside us as mammals. And
exactly. Every living mammal has an endocannabinoid system. Yes, yes, yes.
so, I mean, it's just so beautiful. And a lot of people don't understand that aspect of how the phytocannabinoids can come into their endocannabinoid system and attach to their receptors, the the CB1 receptors, CB2
Yes, yes.
receptors.
It's exactly
Um,
the same way that alcohol binds with sugar in your
yes,
system.
yes,
It takes it changes the chemistry of your body, and that affects the chemistry of your mental um, capacity.
yeah,
So, I mean, if you take cannabis and alcohol and you take them as a comparative, cannabis never takes you to the point where you're so inebriated that your judgment is completely dangerous.
yeah.
It's when and it's part of the stigma as this gateway drug, because it's not the cannabis that actually inebriates your judgment. It's the things that you mix the cannabis with, i.e alcohol, i.e all those other social
Yeah.
chemical drugs out there. And not just the social ones, the prescribed ones as well. Back in my day it was the social drugs what's a problem, but nowadays it seems to be more the prescription drugs that's the epidemic rather than the social ones.
So talking about it be back in your day being used socially, um, can you just talk about how you feel as if is it or is it not an addictive substance?
Man, like I said before, addiction is based on successful results. So, and my way of seeing things, you can try everything in this life as long as you don't affect anybody negatively, and that includes yourself. So that kind of lays down the perimeters of how to test things as a sensible human being, and not to um, prohibit yourself from seeing what is the thing that people are talking about. But you, as a person, have common sense to see, okay, wait, if I go deeper into this, it's going to be dangerous for me. And, now you get to friend and social influence, but surround yourself with the right people. If you're into cannabis and you're a grower, talk to growers. Growers love talking about the herb, man.
Mm.
Breeders love talking about pheno hunts. So get connected with people that's into the same thing in the same way that you are into the herb.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we used to just take some herb and we used to talk about everything. Philosophy, we do religion, politics, and we could share all those ideas and information, because that's what makes communication so wonderful. Me and you, we can sit down and accidentally we can talk about something that changes your life or changes my life or changes, not even so dramatically, just changes the way I grow or look at a grow or look at the herb for that matter.
Yeah.
um you know Not
I
even with the
really,
economical advantages that's there, but yeah.
I really like that because when you think of the things like dispensaries as opposed to private clubs, a lot of people who are now discovering cannabis, some of them they go to these private clubs and they find people there. Some of them they don't know how to roll. They get almost like not mentored, but shown the way by people. And there's bartenders, there's other people that are there, and as opposed to kind of like shooting up the needle by yourself or in a place that is in an abusive environment. I feel like places like private clubs and these kind of like societal cannabis places, they kind of open people's minds up for positivity while they're using cannabis products. So I really think that the addictive thing, essence, like you're saying, is based off of like personality archetype as well. So just hang around the right places where you can use this medicine, I think is very key.
Yeah, look, if you have a destructive personality as a person, then cannabis, I don't think, is going to be enough in a social environment. But if you have a destructive personality as a person on your own, cannabis will dial you down so that you can just have that extra breathing room to like know, okay, this person isn't making a personal critique, he's just making a comment or he's just raising an opinion. Just give you that little bit more sense. And because not all of us do have the same kind of patience. I know I've got a very short patience. That's the one reason I grow autoflowers. I don't have the patience or the know how to flip, and or I do have the know how to flip, I don't have the patience. Autos are keep up or get out, and I like that style. So
Very interesting.
so
So tell me about when you first started growing and how you got around to learning how to grow, your growth journey from the first time you wanted to.
man, I actually happened to start growing by accident. My partner one day said, like, you're spending a certain amount of money on medicating yourself, and it's understandable, but it's it's legal to grow, right? And I said, yeah, but the journey seems so daunting. And she just said, well, start. And I just, I started two ways. I started, it was actually the end of March last year. I bought my first pack of retail autoflowers, feminized autoflowers, was from Marijuana SA. Um, but I also, while I was waiting for this, I was so excited. I just chucked some bag seed into some pots to just see what I'm about to expect. Because I mean, I'm spending money on good quality seeds. So I mean, the last thing I want to do is not have them germinate and not even get past the first week of growing, right? I think that's a very very big. Not even, and then you're not even talking about your environment and all those factors that everybody's talking about. This guy's talking about how important the lights are. This guy's talking about how important the airflow is. That guy's talking about important, so there's a lot of things out there. So I filtered by using the internet. I YouTube channels like yours, um, other growers out there. I got a lot of assistance from the breeders who sold me their seeds as well. The direct line from Marijuana SA. Shout out to Luke. Was brilliant. If I had a question and I wasn't sure about something, I could just drop him a WhatsApp and he'll get back to me, and it
Mm.
was sorted. Yeah, the same with bay seeds. I am a huge bay seeds fan. Their genetics do not disappoint. Their germination rate is fantastic. Their plants are healthy. I am growing their whole line. I've got two of each plant because like I said, I'm impatient. So instead of growing about six of the one, I had the fog monster in, and that was just, oh, I was hooked. I haven't had a genetic which is more fun to grow. I mean, the one that's in there now is already about 10 centimeters higher than the rest. Already started with their pre-flowering pistils, and they were soaked on the 1st of July, and we're now on Women's Day. So those plants, they motor, and the first round of fog monsters also just gone. So
Talking about
uh,
the fog monsters, I really agree with you when it comes
you
to
grew some as
um,
well, didn't you?
yes, definitely, and
Yes, yes, yes. So
the fog monsters are amazing. That's an amazing
yeah,
strain of autoflowers. South African local bred, and
beautiful.
it's just so good in all environments, whether they put it indoor or outdoor. I put it in my greenhouse, and I got insane, just intense terpene profiles. The
I
trichomes are
know.
huge.
I know the terpene, the nose coming off that thing was insane. And you know what the most amazing? It carried straight through up to smoke.
Yes.
That's because 9 times out of 10 you lose some of the nose at the end of cure. You have different flavors developing, but
Yeah.
some of those monoterps are so sensitive. They burn off at 26.5 degrees. So in the grow room you'll smell them, and then if your drying environment just goes, if it, in the summer, especially in South Africa, it's quite, the drying process is quite tricky because yeah, that's, well, we'll get to that later, I suppose.
So so
But yeah,
so
Basie's genetic is awesome.
So when it comes to growing these autoflowers, can you just tell me more about your light schedule and how you would basically treat? Because I know that you're very big on autoflowers, and that is one of the reasons for this stream, just so that you can just talk to aspiring growers, because there's a huge surge of people that are now interested in learning about cannabis in South Africa. So can you just maybe teach someone? Um, how you do with an autoflower, and maybe even what an autoflower is as compared to a photo period, and just your growing style with autoflowers from seedling until harvest.
Okay, so the main difference between an autoflower and a photoperiod is a photoperiod is affected by the light cycle. It'll go into flower when the light cycle drops below 1212. An autoflower will go through its life cycle regardless. It will use the light that is available 24/7 if it's available, 18/6. The first fog monster run, I had photo periods in there, and I was actually flowering them on a light cycle of 13/11. And the ones that I was flowering was Malawi, so that's 11 to 60 week strain, just the flowering alone. So during this period, the fog monsters just went straight from seedling straight to harvest. And I think I made a video on it on the Instagram. I was amazed. It was 65 days under a 11-13 light cycle from straight to finish. And it was amazing. I thought that I might lose some density on the flowers. No such thing. So I'm growing my second run now. I've completely moved away from the photo periods because, like I said, I don't have patience, and light leaks occur. I had a couple of herms, and then I just thought to myself, autoflowers is the thing for me. It's something that I can monitor because the way I grow, I tend to the soil, and the plant tells me what the soil needs by
So
learning
do
how to
you,
read the plant.
your germination method, do you plant directly in the soil, or do you paper towel it, or how do you do it first?
I soak first because the retail seeds, they come packaged. So you don't know how old they are. Are they 1 month? Are they 3 months packaged? Usually the local guys has got short, how can I say this? Their packaging has been the packaging time has been shorter than the imports. And what's been working for me, I had trouble in the beginning with imports germinating. For soaking them for 48 hours, there'll just be nothing, where the local genetics would have short little tadpole tails already after 24 to 48 hours. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, let's apply a little bit of sense of maybe the seeds a bit drier than the rest. So what I do with my imported genetics now, I actually soak them for 72 hours. It's like they need that little bit more moisture to really crack the seed, because I've had trouble with them as they come up having the helmet heads as well. So yeah, my luck with imports, you could say, is about 70-30%. 70 being that I've actually grown of all the seeds that I've purchased, versus local genetics. And we're talking now Marijuana SA, we're talking Bay Seeds, and we're talking Jumanji Genetics. Um, all of those guys 100% germinate. The two seeds that I did lose from Jumanji, that was grower's mistake. When I took the seeds out of the water, because usually what I do is I wait until the tadpole's there and then I go straight to soil. I used to do paper towel method, but I moved away from that because that tiny little tadpole root that you see there has got microscopic hairs on it. Those microscopic hairs are so sensitive that even if you catch it slightly with a little bump or whatever, you might damage this. And anything that you do by accident to an autoflower just delays the time it has that it'll finish from start to finish. So in essence, it will, if it gets a damaged leaf, it will try to recover that leaf and it will affect its growth time. So it will sort of like pause to sort that out, to seal the damage of the leaf, because what happens in the plant on one leaf happens throughout the plant. Same sort of like the human body. If you get a cut, all your red blood cells react to the cut you have on the one end of your. Same with the plant. So it doesn't want to lose the moisture, because obviously we thanks to the internet, we all know the VPD thing, right? The vapor pressure deficit, and how important it is for the leaf pressure to match the environment pressure. So all these things considered, the better you dial it in, you're going to see it in your plants. That's what I love about autoflowers. You can immediately see them praying to the light if they're dialed in, and you're going to immediately see them sagging if they need a little bit of water, and or if they
So
water
it's
too
amazing to
much.
think that this can all happen between 0 and 65 days. That you can go from germinating the seed, like you saying you soak it,
I if you
to
leave it alone,
harvesting.
yeah.
Yeah,
If
if
you
you
leave
leave
it
it
alone,
alone.
yeah.
So
Topping
my
slows it down.
question,
You, mm.
my question is, do you think that the buzz or the psychoactive element of autoflowers, seeing that they have the ruderalis gene, is different from photoperiods? Can you talk about that?
You know, here's where you come sort of with a similar approach to beauty is in the eye of the beholder kind of thing. So it all depends on your experience. You know, man, I've smoked the best flower, strongest flower I've smoked is indoor, and the top five strains that I've smoked is indoor. My photo period run, I'm just not. I really do have take my hat off for guys who grow outside. It's a whole different challenge altogether, you know. So, um, but as far as using it, and I mean, I'm a guy who's pretty. Um, my friends have told me I roll too strong. So, and I mean, I'm a joint guy. I'm not a bong guy. I'm not a vape guy. I'm not for me the you can taste the terpenes in a joint, you know, because a joint the cherry gets hotter as you drag, as you get closer to that filter, the smoke doesn't cool down, so you get different notes in different parts of the joint, where in a bong you get all the nose all at once, and I don't really have a refined nose to identify all of those beautiful terps. So a joint, I can really sit back and enjoy the flavors. And I mean, again, indoor, I mean, you have a world record holder in fast buds 2023 that was 29.38%
I believe that's
THC.
strawberry gorilla.
That's the one, and that's the one that Bay Seeds based their Fenrir off, which they just released now, and they gave me a couple of testers 3 months ago, and I made an Instagram video of that thing. It looks like a gorilla, a silverback gorilla that's got covered in terps, and that was their Fenrir genetic, and I didn't know that. He told me, you know, that's the Fenrir genetic. That's the one we're going to release
Um,
now. So,
I
and I
believe I
said,
have
that's
some
that.
base seeds here. I think you're talking about I don't know if that's Odin's Raven.
That's Owen's Raven's the only one I haven't grown yet. The Fenrir is the one they released just now after that one.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah,
I
no,
think
because I'm
they've
also
advertised it.
collecting like a basics collection, so I also want to have
Yes.
all of the autoflowers in my lineup.
Get get yourself the Fenrir. That thing has got a terpene profile that is off the wall. You are
Yes,
just get it. It's phenomenal, really. It's an easy plant to grow. It
yes.
it's you know, I mean, my growing environment, I have my biggest battle is humidity.
Mm.
Um, I don't go with it. Yeah, that's. I've got the top G's going right now. I've
Yeah.
got the Maverick going right now. I've got the fifth gen fighter. I've got going right now, and again the fog
There's
monsters as
also
well.
these Russian guerrillas, the kamikaze, and these Russian gorillas. And the Russian gorilla also has a very nice tapping profile. The fog monster and the
Yes.
Russian gorilla, for me, they're like some of the best for me personally.
Then you're gonna love the Fenrir because both of those genetics has got and the terps the profile comes from that strawberry gorilla that they use. And I mean they
Yeah.
use Atlas seeds as well, and Atlas seeds is also they're brilliant.
Yes.
I've got some gummy bears from Atlas seeds growing now as well, and
Yeah.
also great plants
I,
to grow in high
I
humidity.
cannot wait to really run the ones I haven't run and get the fan reel for myself as well. I think that's going to be a very good strain to run. So can you just talk to me about how long it takes for you to, how do you know when your flower is ready for harvest, and how long does it take for you to harvest your autoflowers?
It's a feel, but you as general rule of thumb, I check the hairs, the pistils. If they are nice and brown or red or orange, they it's time for me to check the terps under the microscope. I like after trichomes under the microscope. I like a balanced mix of 50-50 trichomes. 50 cloudy, 50 mature. Some guys say that's too late. I like a heavier effect because I have a very hyper ADHD, so I need something to slow me down. Um, so, but I do harvest one or two plants earlier just for that little social energy spikes. So and to me, some people say, "Oh, that's this and that's that." To me, again, it's a personal thing. From my experience, if I harvest early, I do get a lighter vibe from the same strain that I would get if I harvest it later. It would be more, you would have the same effects, just in a heavier way. And some people's physical heavy isn't hyped up, so the physical heavy is more intense for them than it is for somebody like me. You understand? So again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But yeah, you can't go wrong with any basic genetic, not at all. um,
Now, that's very good. I'm so glad to know that we have really good autoflower genetics in South Africa. So, for anyone that really wants to go from zero to like 65, 70-day finish and really
yes,
have some big
absolutely,
flowers,
and
yeah,
have a power flower
yeah,
nonetheless. That it's not just a fast one. It's when they say 25 to 28% THC, they mean it. You can
yeah,
feel it immediately. um
yes,
So, but the guys at Bay Seeds themselves, I know the one, and he's very passionate about. To put it to you this way, he gets as excited as I do about popping beans, and he's been breeding for years, and still
yeah,
till today, he's
mm,
so he really loves what he does.
mm.
And the guys I know, their process of selecting and the plants that they chuck that they don't use is quite unbelievable, for somebody like me. I would be like, no, there's nothing wrong with that plant, and then they'd be like, no, this and this and this and this. So if you stay humble in this industry, you can really absorb a lot, because the 90% of the people that's involved, they love what they do, and people who love what they do, they are willing to share just for the sake of sharing, and for the sake of you know being a, um, a a diplomat for the plant itself, to break the stigma and say, look, some people actually have are more productive when they are, and less distract. Like somebody like me, if I didn't have my cannabis during my day, I won't be able to get through my workload, because my attention deficit, it I would never I would never finish a task. I would have 25 more tasks to complete at the end of the day. you know so it, it
Wow,
it all depends. Yeah.
it's
Plus,
very
something
good.
interesting, did you know that,
Yeah.
do you know the reason why they banned cannabis from the MMA?
Please tell me.
A lot of MMA fighters use cannabis before they start their sparring session for hyperfocus,
Hmm.
to in, to induce hyperfocus. Yes, I will tell you
Well,
now.
it makes sense now because on my
The
page I get a
panine.
lot of followers from MMA guys.
Yes, yes. The terpene panine is specifically associated with memory retention and alertness. And most cannabis, you can taste the pine or the herb and the underlining flower. So and I mean that's exactly the same thing that helps me with my ADHD. It makes me focus on the task at hand, and these little noises and little distractions or people talking about something else that's got nothing to do with me, but I'll listen in because it's just distracting enough to it's right there. I can't focus, but when yeah. So
Yeah.
it's definitely an aid. So yeah, it's quite
So
even
amazing.
fighters use it. Yeah, it's not something that makes you drowsy, and depends on how you use it. If you find that you're drowsy and you're lazy and you're inambitious, you're probably on the wrong strain. You're probably on the wrong strain. So you're probably looking for something with all of that, but none of this, depending
Yeah.
on on which
Yeah,
strain
but with so
you're
many
on.
different strains, you really can find something that really just fits your lane.
Yes, and most people will also tell you, that just before they start doing something, for me, just before I start doing something, I will smoke, and then I will that focus is immediately there. Um, so otherwise, if you smoke without a goal, it's sort of like you also like tend to float around, and that's when you start getting philosophical because your brain wants to be active, but it doesn't want to be too active.
So amazing. Thank you so much, Little Grown. I think this is a very informative session talking about the power of cannabis and ADHD and the speed where you can get the medicine, which is the flower, from 0 to 65 days, especially locally with guys like Jomanji and Bay Seeds, among others. You can get these seeds from Marijuana SA, Biltong and Bud, or directly from the breeders themselves. So
Yeah, it
it's really
depends.
amazing. Can you leave us with a few last words before we close off this session?
Man, we have to chat again. This is so much fun. Um, one, as a grower, stay humble. That's when you learn. When you listen to other people and filter. Don't just apply everything everybody tells you. Check it. Make sure it's the right advice for your environment. And get a hydrometer. pH meter, yes, fine. But the humidity and your temperature is crucial. And here's the last piece of advice, something that I found the hard way: airflow. Airflow. Guys, your plants' leaves, just as much as you love the air conditioner on a hot day, that's the airflow. That airflow is so important to get that light in there, to get the soil moisture and the rhizosphere and everything and the microbes and whatever you've got in your soil, getting it active. It keep it natural, man. That's the best advice I can say. And support your local genetics. If you know about a breeder that's close by, he's bred close to the climate that you're in. So if the plants that he's grown or she's grown is adapting well in that area, and you're like 50 k's, 100 k's, even 150 k's away, and you see a similar climate, the chances are that those genetics will also be very, very responsive in your environment as well. And support locally. These guys
Yeah.
do a lot of they breed with the best. So we're getting actually an advanced step into the future because they take what these other guys has already done and they just make it better and suitable for our environment. So I my my spending is much more on local genetics than it is, because your reward is just the same and unique. Nonetheless, nobody out there knows about our local genetics, so what you're smoking isn't out there. It's only here. Local is lekker, my bro.
Shout out. Thank you so much, Little Grown. We're definitely going to chop it
Pleasure.
up again another time. And thank you,
Pleasure.
everybody, for watching and joining us. It was an informative session. And I hope you like it because we're going to definitely have another episode. And until next time, cheers, guys.
Cheers, cheers.